The chill wasn't just from the London air, it radiated from Prince William himself, a palpable wave of disdain cutting through the gilded atmosphere of Westminster Abbey. All eyes were glued to the future king, not for the usual reasons of royal pomp and circumstance, but for his very public, very deliberate act of defiance. He simply refused to bow his head to Queen Camilla. It was a mere heartbeat of silence, a flicker of rebellion in a sea of orchestrated ceremony. But in the viper's nest of royal life, a single unspoken gesture can trigger a war. Camilla, ever the practiced performer, maintained her composure. The smile remained fixed, the queenly facade unblemished. But the camera, that relentless chronicler of truth, caught the tremor in her hand, the fleeting tightening around her eyes. She felt it, the icy blast of Willem's disapproval, a stark reminder of the ghosts of her past. For decades, Camilla had been cast as the villain in a real-life fairy tale gone wrong, the other woman, the destroyer of a beloved princess, the recipient of public scorn. She had clawed her way back, weathered the storm of public opinion, and finally, against all odds, claimed her crown. But William's silent protest was a thunderclap, a signal that the past wasn't buried, that Diana's legacy still cast a long, unforgiving shadow. The Abbey ceremony, meant to showcase the unity and enduring strength of the monarchy, instead became a stage for a simmering family feud. The whisper started immediately, rippling through the pews like a contagious disease. Did you see that? He didn't bow! Social media exploded. William's stance with Diana trended worldwide. The British public, forever loyal to their people's princess, were galvanized. Was this a son's unwavering devotion to his mother, or a dangerous crack in the foundation of the monarchy? Camilla, seething with humiliation, retreated to Clarence House. The limousine, a symbol of her hard-won status, felt like a cage. The faces of Londoners blurred past the window, each one a potential judge, a silent accuser. She had endured so much, sacrificed so much to finally reach this pinnacle of power, and now her own stepson threatened to tear it all down. "He dares to challenge me," she muttered, her voice laced with venom. But beneath the anger, a flicker of fear. William was not his father. He possessed a steeliness, a strategic mind, inherited perhaps from his mother. He was a formidable opponent, and this was just the opening salvo in a covert war. The battle lines were drawn not on a battlefield of armies and weapons, but in the subtle arenas of public opinion, palace intrigue, and whispered alliances. This wasn't just about a statue or a title or a bow. It was about legacy, about power, about the very soul of the British monarchy. And Camilla, a survivor if nothing else, was ready to fight. She would not be relegated to the shadows. She would not let Diana's ghost continue to haunt her reign. The game was on. A week later, the unveiling of the expanded Diana Memorial Garden at Kensington Palace felt less like a tribute and more like a carefully orchestrated power play. The sun, as if on cue, bathed the scene in a golden glow, illuminating the pristine white roses, Diana's favorite, that cascaded around the newly erected statue. It was a masterclass in symbolism, a visual feast designed to tug at the heartstrings of a nation still mourning their princess. William, somber and regal in a dark suit, delivered a speech that was both heartfelt and subtly pointed. He spoke of Diana's compassion, her unwavering commitment to the vulnerable, her ability to find light even in the darkest of times. Every word, every carefully chosen phrase was a reminder of the qualities Camilla, in the eyes of many, lacked. But the true genius of William's move lay not just in the ceremony itself, but in the statue's placement. It stood, arms outstretched, gazing directly towards Camilla's windows at Clarence House. It was a daily, unavoidable reminder of Diana's enduring presence, a silent accusation etched in marble. Camilla, watching from her study, felt the blood drain from her face. The statue wasn't just a memorial, it was a weapon, a constant assault on her sense of security. Every morning, as she drew back the curtains, Diana would be there, her serene gaze a constant judgment. It was a psychological warfare tactic of the highest order, designed to undermine her confidence and chip away at her carefully constructed facade. "How dare he?" she whispered, her voice trembling with rage. The years of whispers, the years of being labeled the other woman, the years of fighting for acceptance, they all came came flooding back. She was the queen, damn it! She deserved respect, not this constant barrage of reminders of a past she couldn't erase. The garden, meant to be a sanctuary of peace and remembrance, became a battleground. Camilla refused to be intimidated. She wouldn't cower in the face of Diana's ghost. A plan began to formulate in her mind, a strategy that would turn William's own weapon against him. It started subtly. A whisper here, a carefully placed rumor there. Stories began to circulate about William's ambition, his impatience for the throne, his ruthlessness in protecting his mother's legacy. The narrative shifted, painting him not as a grieving son, but as a power-hungry prince willing to exploit his mother's memory for his own gain. Camilla knew the public was fickle. Loyalty could be bought and sold with the right narrative. She used her extensive network of contacts within the media, planting seeds of doubt, fueling the flames of speculation. The hashtag William the Ruthless began to trend, a testament to the power of carefully crafted propaganda. But William wasn't easily swayed. He knew Camilla was playing dirty, and he was prepared to fight fire with fire. He launched his own counteroffensive, highlighting Camilla's lavish spending, her close ties to controversial figures, the whispers of her past that still lingered in the shadows. The palace became a pressure cooker, a breeding ground for paranoia and suspicion. Every conversation was scrutinized, every gesture analyzed. Alliances shifted like sand, and no one could be trusted. The queen was determined to strike a blow to her stepson, and she would use any means necessary to achieve her goals. The relocation of Diana's statue was a calculated risk, a move designed to portray Camilla as a victim of William's overreach, and for a while it worked. The press, ever hungry for a new angle, lapped up the narrative of the grieving queen haunted by the ghosts of her predecessor. But Camilla underestimated the power of family, the unbreakable bond between a father and son. Prince George, with the unfiltered honesty of a child, innocently exposed the truth. His video called to William a simple act of concern for his grandmother Diana's forgotten statue ripped the carefully constructed facade to shreds. William's rage was volcanic, a force of nature unleashed on Clarence House. The confrontation with Charles, overheard by staff and quickly leaked to the press, painted a devastating picture of a family torn apart by ambition and resentment. Camilla, eavesdropping from behind the curtains, savored the moment. The rift between father and son was widening precisely as she had planned. But a nagging doubt lingered. William was not easily defeated. He was resourceful, intelligent, and fiercely protective of his mother's memory. She needed a new strategy, a way to strike at William's core, to undermine his public image beyond repair. The opportunity came in the form of Tom Parker Bowles. Camilla's son, always eager to bask in the reflected glory of his mother's position, had been quietly building his own network of influence, leveraging his royal connections to secure lucrative business deals. Camilla, initially hesitant, saw Tom as a pawn, a means to an end. She used her influence to secure him invitations to exclusive events, introducing him to powerful figures who could further his ambitions. William, ever vigilant, noticed the pattern: Tom's sudden rise, his access to royal resources, his increasingly brazen attempts to capitalize on his mother's position. It all reeked of corruption. He tasked James, his loyal aide, with investigating Tom's activities, determined to expose the truth no matter the cost. The audit of royal assets was a declaration of war, a direct challenge to Camilla's authority. William framed it as a matter of transparency and accountability, a necessary step to safeguard the integrity of the monarchy, but everyone knew the real target was Camilla and her son. The news of the audit sent shockwaves through Clarence House. Camilla, initially defiant, began to panic. She knew William had the power to uncover her secrets, to expose her manipulation of royal funds. She scrambled to cover her tracks, ordering Tom to distance himself from his questionable business dealings, but it was too late. William had already gathered the evidence he needed. The paper trail led directly to Camilla, implicating her in a scheme to divert royal funds to benefit her son. He knew exposing this scandal would be devastating, but he saw no other way to protect the monarchy from corruption. The press conference was a spectacle, a carefully orchestrated display of righteous indignation. William, standing before the cameras, presented the evidence with cold, clinical precision. He spoke of betrayal, of abuse of power, of the need to uphold the values of integrity and accountability. The public was outraged. Camilla's reputation was in tatters, but even in defeat, Camilla refused to surrender. She knew William had won this battle, but the war was far from over. She retreated to the shadows, plotting her next move, determined to reclaim her power, to avenge her humiliation, to ensure that Diana's ghost would finally be silenced. The stage was set for a final, explosive confrontation, a battle that would determine the fate of the British monarchy.